After I was reborn, I proactively cut off all ties with Liu Jing. He applied to the National University of Defense Technology in Hunan, so I changed my application to the People's Public Security University in Beijing. The main goal was to be as far apart as possible. When he came home for Chinese New Year to find me, I drove off on a trip that very night. He's not answering my calls or texts. The moment he transferred to my city, I immediately applied for a transfer too. I can't even get him to see me. In my past life, I loved him for 30 years, and for 30 years, he gave me the cold shoulder. I got cancer in my 40s. In the final moments of my life, Liu Jing was busy decorating his new home to marry Su Shanshan. The two sons I painstakingly raised were bustling about for their wedding. I was all alone, lying in a hospital bed, waiting to die. I never want to live a life of failure like that again. After resubmitting my college applications, I felt completely relaxed. Finally, I don't have to deal with Liu Jing anymore. The deadline for early admission applications is tomorrow at noon. I'm worried the internet will be too slow tomorrow and I won't be able to log in. That's why I came out tonight to change my application. In my previous life, I chased Liu Jing my entire life and resented him for just as long. In the end, I'll just die filled with regret. In this life, I never want to have anything to do with Liu Jing again. I want us to be worlds apart, never to meet again. July 13th is my 18th birthday. On that day, I'll tell him publicly, I'm not marrying you, you're free. 15 more days. Just as I left the internet cafe, I got a text from Liu Jing. I'm out with friends, might be back late, cover for me, thanks. 1. I casually replied with an Liu Jing and I were childhood sweethearts. His dad and my dad were comrades in arms, and his mom and my mom were best friends and colleagues. I lived at his house for 3 years and always called his mother Auntie Lee. His mom treats me better than she treats him, her own son. No one knew I'd been reborn. I have a secret crush on him, but he likes Su Shanshan. I had originally planned to keep these feelings buried deep down and just be his sister for life, but on the day the college entrance exams ended, Liu Jing took me to a bar. I was drunk and using the restroom when 2 men molested me. If Liu Jing hadn't come looking for me when I didn't return for a long time, I don't know what would have happened next. I felt being molested was the ultimate humiliation. I almost killed myself. Mama Lee felt that Liu Jing hadn't protected me, so she forced him to agree to get engaged to me. Out of guilt, Liu Jing promised that we'd have our engagement party as soon as I received my admission letter. Su Shanshan couldn't accept the news of Liu Jing's engagement and made a huge fuss. Liu Jing went to great lengths, finding every excuse to comfort Su Shanshan. In his previous life, Liu Jing was absolutely head over heels in love with Su Shanshan. He'd give up anything for her, including his principles, his future, his conscience. The more I clung on, the more I lost, and the more I lost, the more unwilling I was to let go. I used every means possible to oppose them, wanting them to suffer as much as I did. In the end, Auntie Lee, who was like a mother to me, and I became estranged until our dying days. My 2 sons, whom I had worked so hard to raise, also completely abandoned me. I heard them with my own ears saying, Mom's life is so miserable, she might as well die sooner. That way, Dad and Aunt Sue can finally be together. It's been 30 years, they've really had it tough. I won't be the villain who breaks them apart in this life, and I don't want those 2 ingrates either. 02. I'll let them have their happiness, and I'll free myself. Changing my early admission choices is the first step to getting away from Liu Jing. This is also my first step towards living for myself. In my past life, to be with Liu Jing, I gave up on the public university I had my heart set on. I went with him to the National University of Defense Technology, which he had always dreamed of attending. Full military management is far more stringent than police-style management. The increased training hours and projects left me utterly exhausted. Both mentally and physically, it was pure misery. What made it even worse was seeing Liu Jing and Su Shanshan flirting right under my nose. I was consumed by a furious jealousy, but I didn't dare confront them, because I was the other woman. Later, Su Shanshan was suddenly expelled from school. Liu Jing thought I was behind it and never gave me a kind look again. After graduating from university, Liu Jing kept dragging his feet on his promise to marry me, until I received Su Shanshan's wedding invitation. To get Liu Jing to give up on her, Su Shanshan hastily married an uneducated, good-for-nothing rich second generation. Heartbroken and disillusioned, Liu Jing went through with our wedding like a zombie. After the wedding, Liu Jing constantly avoided me. He didn't come home for years. When I went to see him at the base, he'd rather cover a shift for a comrade than come back to the dorm to spend time with me. Auntie Lee calls me every day asking if I'm pregnant yet. She even sent me a set of sexy lingerie to please Liu Jing, and to give Auntie Lee a grandchild sooner rather than later. I shyly climbed onto the cot in the duty room, still wearing it. but Lu Xing pointed his finger at me and called me a slut. I couldn't take it anymore. So I ran back that very night, determined to divorce Lu Xing no matter what. Lu Xing came back and apologized to me. He sweet-talked me. Making up for the wedding night we missed 3 years ago, I got pregnant after just one night, with twins, no less. I thought with children, Lu Xing would finally step up and be a responsible husband and father. Later, I realized the children only tied me down. The only person who could ever truly hold Lu Xing captive was Su Shanshan, even though he knew I was having a difficult labor because of Su Shanshan's provocations, almost losing both myself and our twins. He still defended Su Shanshan without hesitation. To make me forgive Su Shanshan, he knelt before me and stabbed himself twice, atoning for her sins. At the time, I was still in the hospital, and both kids were in incubators. He never asked a single question, let alone went to see the children. As soon as I got home, I received a video from Su Shanshan. In the video, she and Lu Xing were tightly embracing, dancing in a way that made your blood pump. Li Mama, who had just returned from her evening study session, saw how engrossed I was and leaned in to see what I was watching. After seeing what was on the video, Li Mama was absolutely furious. That good-for-nothing, leaving his own fiancé to go with some outsider, I'll skin him alive. And Su Shanshan, that vixen, has no shame. Lu Xing is about to get engaged, and she's still clinging to him, dancing like that. I'm going to her parents tomorrow to give them a piece of my mind. Su Shanshan's dad is a security guard at our school, her mom is a cleaner. As the school director, Mrs. Li had always been kind to them, until she found out Lu Xing was secretly dating Su Shanshan. Auntie Li believes in marrying within one's social standing. She doesn't think highly of Su Shanshan's family background. She wants Lu Xing and me to be together, because my dad is a major. My uncle is the principal of a key provincial high school, and my maternal uncle is a department head. My connections could really boost Lu Xing's career. To break them up, whenever Mrs. Li saw Su Shanshan's parents, she would go out of her way to find fault with them. She hoped Su Shanshan would know her place and stay away from Lu Xing. Yet, Su Shanshan and her parents clung to Lu Xing relentlessly, refusing to let go. In my previous life, even with my mother-in-law and I teaming up, we couldn't get Su Shanshan away from Lu Xing. After I was completely worn out and Mama Li was too old and weak to intervene, Su Shanshan successfully married Lu Xing, and she even gained my 2 wonderful sons. In this life, I won't stop them anymore. But I won't interfere with Mama Li. If Su Shanshan wants to marry into the Lu family, she'll have to get past Mama Li first. Mama Li only had one way to punish Lu Xing. With a feather duster, each strike left a bloody welt. She was really merciless. I thought Lu Xing would blame me for tattling and ignore me after getting beaten. I was surprised he actually came to apologize to me. 3. I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. And I just danced. That's all. Nothing else happened. Don't worry. I know my place and I wouldn't do anything out of line. He sounded very sincere. If I hadn't been so sharp-eyed and noticed the hickey on his neck, I might have actually believed his lies. He's always been a trickster. When we were kids, he'd always pull little stunts to fool me. He made me cry, laugh, and even throw tantrums for him, but I never thought of him as a bad brother, because he always doted on me. After I gave birth, he lied to me, saying he had cut all ties with Su Shanshan. I took our 2 sons to the military base to celebrate his birthday, but in his dorm, I saw Su Shanshan and her daughter, and the room was filled with women's belongings. Later, when I was critically ill, I asked him to come visit me in the hospital. He said he was injured and couldn't move his legs and feet easily. In reality, he was busy preparing for his wedding with Su Shanshan. In his previous life, he deceived me for an entire lifetime. In this life, I won't believe a single word he says ever again. As long as I don't believe him, he can never deceive me. I waved my hand gently. You don't need to explain. I have no right to interfere with your freedom. Your mom happened to be next to me when Su Shanshan sent me the video. I didn't tattle. She just had bad luck. PDA kills relationships. If she hadn't deliberately provoked me, trying to assert her dominance in front of me, she wouldn't have been humiliated by Li's mother. Lu Xing gave a bitter smile. How can you say you have no right to interfere with me? Once we get the admission letter, we're getting engaged. After we're engaged, I'll be yours. I'll do whatever you ask, serve you with all my might, and dedicate myself to you until my last breath. I won't be getting an admission letter from NUDT, and I certainly won't be getting engaged to you. You don't have to feel so wronged, and you don't have to humor me against your will. Just 14 more days. Hang in there. Lu Xing pressed. 14 days for what? Oh, so he even forgot my birthday. I pushed Lu Xing out of my room. Until you regain your freedom, I'll make sure of it. After filling out the college applications, I'll have to prepare for the military physical. Under the strict supervision of Mama Li, Lu Jing never went out to secretly meet Su Shanshan again. Lu Jing, with his heart elsewhere, was constantly glued to his phone, either on long calls or video chats. Every time Mama Li caught him, she'd give him a beating. He even handed me the feather duster and told me to hit him a few times to let off some steam. I couldn't be bothered to waste my time and energy on that. Forget it. Lu Jing thought I was reluctant to hit him and was quite touched. Don't worry, I was just chatting with her about normal friend stuff, nothing else. I know I'm engaged. I wouldn't mess around. What's an engagement worth anyway? Not even a marriage certificate could stop him and Su Shanshan from having their secret affair. I mumbled a reply. Just running, long jumping, and doing sit-ups every day completely drains me. Plus, I have to practice for the psychological tests. I really don't have the energy to care who he's flirting with. Lu Jing is really worried Su Shanshan won't pass the interview, and asked me if there's any way to help her out. If I truly wanted to, I'd find a way, but why would I bother my family for someone I can't stand? No, haven't you always championed fairness and justice? Why make an exception for Su Shanshan now? Lu Jing wasn't happy with my answer, but he didn't say anything. But after that, he never initiated a conversation with me again. I was already so used to his coldness and indifference that I didn't feel too bad about it. Auntie Lee thought we were just too stressed to talk, so she didn't pay it much mind. She just kept making us delicious food every day, trying new things. The day I left for my military physical, Lu Jing picked a rose from the garden early in the morning and brought it back. Mama Lee chuckled. That boy finally wised up and knows to get you flowers. I didn't tell Mama Lee that it was Su Shanshan who liked roses. This flower wasn't for me. The moment Su Shanshan saw me, she slapped me across the face. You're so vicious. Stealing Lu Jing wasn't enough. You had to get Auntie Lee to fire my parents too. Su Shanshan's parents were fired. It seems like Mama Lee is truly furious this time. What does that have to do with me? Su Shanshan is afraid to confront her future mother-in-law, so she wants to take it out on me. She thinks I'm a pushover just because I'm not showing my teeth. I raised my hand to hit her back, but Lu Jing stopped me. Her parents lost their jobs, and they're really struggling financially. Please don't hold it against her. If you're really that upset, just hit me instead. You can even hit me a few extra times. So, just because her family is having a hard time, I should let her slap me. Am I her punching bag? I asked Lu Jing. Who are you to her? You can apologize for her and take a beating in her place. 4. Lu Jing suddenly remembered our engagement. As my fiancé, he should be defending me, but he still wouldn't let go. If it weren't for that incident, we wouldn't even be engaged. My mom wouldn't be targeting her parents either. Yeah, Shanshan is already having a hard time. Can't you just be a little more understanding? In our past life, when we were students at NUDT together, whenever Su Shanshan and I argued, Lu Jing would always use words like that to make me back down. He knew how much I dreaded that topic, yet he brought it up again and again. To defend Su Shanshan, he didn't hesitate to stab my heart, one cut after another. As if I don't feel pain. Now he's doing this to me again, but I won't back down anymore. With a cold expression, I slowly pried Lu Jing's hand off me. Lu Jing was afraid that if I made a scene, Su Shanshan would suffer, so he humbly begged me to forgive her. Yuan, she really didn't mean to hit you, she was just too angry. I took a deep breath, cutting Lu Jing off. How about I call the police right now? Lu Jing knew that if I called the police, Su Shanshan wouldn't have a chance to attend the interview. After a moment of hesitation, Lu Jing stepped aside. I slapped Su Shanshan across the face, at the last second. Lu Jing couldn't bring himself to let Su Shanshan take that slap. He pushed Su Shanshan aside and offered his own face instead. I put all my strength into that slap, leaving a bright red handprint on Lu Jing's face. Su Shanshan gasped. Jinggo, why would you do that? What right does she have to hit you? I'm going to get revenge for you. Lu Jing stopped Su Shanshan, his eyes red, and asked me, is this enough now? Seeing their angry and wronged expressions. It was as if I was the unreasonable one. Only 12 days left until it's over. Just bear with it. Lu Jing was completely focused on Su Shanshan, worried that her parents' unemployment would affect her performance and cause her to fail the interview. I didn't even realize I wasn't in the same exam room as them. During the physical fitness test, Lu Jing finally noticed. He asked if I'd changed my mind about my college applications. I didn't want to talk to him, so I just gave a lazy nod. Lu Jing actually seemed a bit annoyed. I suddenly realized I couldn't handle the fully militarized management, so I decided not to go. Lu Jing pressed me, asking which university I put as my first choice. Maybe telling him would make them a bit happier and cause me less trouble. PolyU, Lu Jing subconsciously murmured. That far. I'm keeping my distance so I don't disturb your lovey-dovey reunion. I didn't say a word, just brushed past Lu Jing. As I was going down the steps, A hand reached out from behind and pushed me. Even though I grabbed the handrail in time, I still twisted my ankle. It's not serious, but it will definitely affect my physical fitness test results, Su Shanshan sneered. You almost made me fail my interview, so I'm going to make sure you fail your physical fitness test. I glanced at the surveillance camera above me and said nothing. The test is about to start, and I don't have time to deal with Su Shanshan. When the examiner found out I'd sprained my ankle, they moved my name to the end of the list. They even thoughtfully arranged for someone to give me a massage. The first event was the 50-meter sprint, and I finished it in 15 seconds. 5, that's a fail. There are 4 projects in total, and I have to pass all 3 remaining ones. Otherwise, I won't be able to get into the early admission round. I'll have to go through the regular admission process. The examiner's gaze was also filled with concern. For the standing long jump, I only managed to clear 4 meters on my first try. It wasn't until my third attempt that I barely passed. I passed the 800-meter run and sit-ups that followed. The moment I left the exam hall, I called the police. Su Shanshan has been arrested by the police. Lu Jing was frantic. After his negotiations with the police went nowhere, he bit the bullet and came to me for help. Yeah. Can you forgive Shanshan? She didn't mean it. I asked Lu Jing if he had seen the surveillance footage. If he had even glanced at it, he wouldn't have said such a thing. Lu Jing knew deep down that Su Shanshan was doing it on purpose, but he still made excuses for her. She has some misunderstandings about you. I'll talk to her slowly. I promise she'll never do anything to hurt you again. Su Shanshan always thought I orchestrated the whole bar incident, all to break her and Lu Jing up. That was a wound I couldn't show anyone. Yet they kept bringing it up in front of me. And now, Lu Jing has brought it up again. I flat out refused. Your promises are worthless, you can't control her, and you don't have the heart to punish her. Lu Jing was utterly mortified by Su Shanshan's recklessness, and by my blatant disrespect. Yet, he still couldn't let go of Su Shanshan. You really can't. I cut Lu Jing off. People who do wrong deserve to be punished. This is what she gets. I won't forgive her. In my past life, I was too weak, always unable to be ruthless. That's why Su Shanshan kept walking all over me, again and again. This time, I'm going to make sure she learns her lesson. As I turned to go back to my room, Lu Jing grabbed my arm and pleaded in a low voice. If I were to ask you for a favor, based on all the good things I've done for you over the past 10 years, would you grant me this one request? Lu Jing had indeed been incredibly good to me over the past decade. He protected me like an older brother, always letting me have my way, taking the blame for me, fighting my battles, especially after my mom passed away. If it weren't for him, I would have developed a mental illness a long time ago. How could I have even thought about getting into the public security university? It was precisely because of all his kindness to me that in my past life, I could never let him go, always hoping he would come back. I had no parents to rely on. No siblings for company, just him. Back then, I didn't know that once a man finds someone he truly loves, he no longer cares for his childhood sweetheart. In this life, he and I will have no further connection. It's time to repay him for that past affection. Fine, remember what you said. From now on, we owe each other nothing. Seeing my resolute tone, Lu Jing looked a little flustered. He tried to say something else to me, but I just pushed him away and shut the door. Lu Jing couldn't get me to open the door, so he sent an apology text. Yuan, I'm sorry, I've hurt you again. See, he knows everything, yet he still protects Su Shanshan without hesitation. Apologies are meaningless, you're just following your heart. Never. I don't love you anymore anyway, even if it breaks my heart. It's only for 6 days, just bear with it, and it'll be over. After Su Shanshan got out, she didn't back down at all. Instead, she provoked and insulted me even more aggressively. You're nothing but a parasite living off others. Who do you think you are, acting all high and mighty, and you're going to call the police? What good will that do? Don't you know Brother Jing's dad is a military officer with serious connections? Can you stop shamelessly clinging to Brother Jing? Even if you cling to him like a leech, how long do you think that'll last? Once we're at the National University of Defense Technology, we won't be back even once a year. Will you ever see him then? No matter how much Auntie Li protects you, she can't come to the school and drag Brother Jing back. Brother Jing doesn't like you at all. How could he possibly fall in love with you because of some responsibility you're forcing on him? There's no way he's going to get engaged to you. And even less likely he'll marry you. Just give up already. I was busy picking out a dress for my coming-of-age ceremony and originally didn't want to bother with Su Shanshan, but I really couldn't stand her arrogant and foolish behavior. I decided to kindly give her a heads up. Has Lu Jing never told you? My dad is also a major, the same rank as Lu's dad. My uncle is a principal, and my mother's brother is a department head. If I wanted to ruin you, Lu Jing couldn't save you. Do you think Lu Jing pulled strings to get you out? No. He begged me to forgive you and promised me there would absolutely be no next time. That's why I agreed to let you go. If I hadn't said yes, forget about the National University of Defense Technology, you wouldn't be able to get into any school that requires a political review, understand? Su Shanshan doesn't believe I have such a powerful background. You're full of it. Whoever saw your dad in 3 years of high school? When did the principal ever pull strings for you? Is a department head even that big of a deal? You're just a homeless loser, mooching off the Lu family for food and shelter. The words homeless loser stung. 6. Even though I come from a good family and have plenty of people who can support me, but I don't have a home. My dad's a workaholic. He's never home. The last time I saw him was at my mom's funeral. That was over 3 years ago. My uncles on both sides are really busy with work and have their own families to take care of. No one has time for me. Ever since my mom died in a car accident, I've been living with the Lu family. For the past 3 years, Mrs. Li has treated me like her own daughter. I've always thought of Auntie Li as my own mother, until I was reborn, remembering all her accusations and coldness towards me after Lu Jing and I fell out in my previous life. I just can't bring myself to be close to her like before. Every day I spent at the Lu family's house was pure torment. 3 more days. The day before my birthday, my aunt called me. There's something I've been thinking about, and I really feel I should tell you. There's a new development regarding that incident where you were molested. In my previous life, I was extremely sensitive about this. I'd fly into a rage just hearing the word molested. I didn't let my aunt finish. Now I've come to terms with it, and I want to hear what kept her awake so early in the morning. It's highly likely that Li Chenmei instigated those 2 men who assaulted you. They were already drunk at the time and were led to you. Based on their descriptions and those of the bar staff, that person was very likely Li Chenmei. None of the nearby surveillance cameras captured her face directly, so there's no proof she was even at the bar, and there's certainly no evidence that she was the one who put them up to assaulting you. That's why your aunt never told you. Just keep this to yourself, don't tell anyone else. After hanging up, it took me a long time to process what I just heard. It turns out the ones who truly ruined my life weren't those 2 perverts. It was Auntie Li, who I considered a second mother. She disliked Su Shanshan and coveted my family background, which is why she concocted such a wicked scheme to force Lu Jing and me into an engagement. I was just her pawn. Used to break up Lu Jing and Su Shanshan. A stepping stone to pave the way for Lu Jing. No wonder she always egged me on to fight Su Shanshan for Lu Jing. After I repeatedly lost to Su Shanshan, she found me useless, unable to win Lu Jing's heart, and stopped bothering with me, leaving me to struggle alone, raising 2 sons. When I was fiercely competing with Lu Jing, she stabbed me in the back and schemed against me. From beginning to end, she never genuinely cared for me, only manipulation and exploitation. Auntie Li pushed the door open, beaming, carrying a large box. Yeah, Auntie Li has a surprise for you. Go on, open it. I obediently took the box, opened it, and feigned surprise. Wow, what a beautiful dress. Thank you, Auntie Li. Mama Li held the dress up against me, and the more she looked, the more pleased she became. How about you wear this dress on the day you 2 get engaged? Yes, I'll wear this dress when Lu Jing and I get engaged. I'll give this dress to Su Shanshan. It would be quite interesting to have her as your daughter-in-law. You've ruined my life, so I'll make sure you never have a moment's peace for the rest of yours. I linked arms with Mama Li and chuckled. Mama Li, I have a surprise for you tomorrow too. My coming-of-age ceremony was held at the most luxurious hotel in the city. We didn't have many guests at the dinner party, besides my parents' closest friends and relatives. It was just Auntie Li and Lu Jing. Auntie Li was beaming as she chatted with my relatives. Lu Jing awkwardly greeted my uncles. A waiter came in and asked, Miss Pan, there's a young lady named Su Shanshan outside who says you asked her to come. Shall I let her in? Lu Jing flinched when he heard Su Shanshan's name and shot me an angry look. Auntie Li, however, smiled with satisfaction, giving me an approving glance. My aunt sneered, glancing at Lu Jing. You mean the Su Shanshan who pushed you? Almost making you fail your physical. I smiled and nodded, asking the waiter to show Su Shanshan in. Lu Jing tried to stop her, but the waitress completely ignored him. Su Shanshan was wearing the same white dress she wore when she danced with Lu Jing. She also had her makeup done and her hair styled in pretty braids. She was beautiful and confident, standing proudly at the doorway. 7. When Su Shanshan saw me surrounded by everyone, the light in her eyes instantly dimmed. When Cinderella crashed the prince's ball, she felt not only surprise but also inferiority. Lu Jing immediately went up to her, using his body to shield Su Shanshan from the scrutinizing gazes of others. He's truly considerate. He used to be like this with me too. How did you get here? Lu Jing's eyes were filled with worry. Pan, you told me to come. She said you were going to propose to her today. Jing. Please don't propose to her. I really like you. I know I'm not as good as Pan Yu, but I really, really like you. Su Shanshan's voice gradually faded. She had only just turned 18, and seeing my birthday, she understood the distance between us. If she were Lu Jing, she would choose me over herself. She clutched Lu Jing's hand tightly, like a drowning person grasping at the only piece of driftwood. Seeing my hesitation, Auntie Li's face showed impatience. She prompted. Yeah, why did you call her here? As if suddenly remembering, I had a waiter bring a large box from an upstairs room and handed it to Su Shanshan. This is the engagement dress Auntie Li prepared for her future daughter-in-law. Try it on and see if it fits. Su Shanshan held the box in both hands, looking at Auntie Li with surprise. Auntie, you want Lu Jing to get engaged to me, and you even sent me a dress. Lu Jing stared at me. Flustered, I laughed in bitter disbelief. He had just managed to convince himself to give up on Su Shanshan and get engaged to me. He's been suffering for so long. I can't believe I suddenly called off the engagement with him. I really don't want him anymore. I even arranged this whole ugly daughter-in-law meets the in-laws charade for him, publicly forcing his mother to accept Su Shanshan. He finally understood what I meant by saying I'd grant his wish. The panic in Lu Jing's eyes grew more and more intense. I cut him off before he could speak and asked, do you like this surprise? I've been preparing it for you for half a month. Lu Jing, this time you finally don't have to apologize to me. No need to thank me, because I had ulterior motives. Mama Li panicked and snatched the dress back from Su Shanshan. You wish, you're not worthy. This is the dress I bought for Yaya. Yuan, didn't Auntie Li tell you yesterday that this dress is for you to wear on your engagement day? How could you misunderstand Auntie Li's intentions? She's the one who misunderstood. I only accepted the dress. I never said I'd wear it. She gave me a surprise, so naturally, I'll return the favor. I took the dress from Auntie Li and handed it to Su Shanshan. Lu Jing loves Su Shanshan, so it's only natural that she should be the one he's engaged to. Auntie Li, you shouldn't try to break them up. Love conquers all. You should trust that they will support each other and become better versions of themselves. I also gave Su Shanshan the 4-leaf clover bracelet Lu Jing had given me for my birthday. This is the bracelet Lu Jing bought. See if it fits. Lu Jing and Auntie Li were completely dumbfounded. Yuan, Lu Jing reached out to grab me, but I gracefully dodged him. I gave the dazed Su Shanshan a nudge. Go try on the dress. If it doesn't fit, Auntie Li can alter it for you. Su Shanshan thanked me joyfully, then took the dress and left with the attendant. Auntie Li stopped Su Shanshan. Stop right there. That's not yours. You can't touch it. Auntie pulled Mrs. Li aside to talk some sense into her. You can't force things. This girl seems really good. She's definitely going to make something of herself. Mrs. Li blurted out. She's a security guard's daughter. What makes her good enough for my son? If you like her so much, why don't you make her your daughter-in-law? Auntie threw up her hands. She doesn't even like my son. Besides, my son already has a girlfriend, a prosecutor. She's very capable. Mama Li grew even angrier, pinching Lu Jing hard a couple of times before pushing him in front of me. Lu Jing, quickly tell Yaya the truth. Tell her you like her, not Su Shanshan. Hurry. How could Lu Jing possibly say something so insincere, like he liked me, right in front of Su Shanshan? He couldn't bear to see Su Shanshan suffer even the slightest bit of injustice. He also knew how much he'd hurt me to protect Su Shanshan. He even used up the friendship we had between us. What right does he have to say he likes me now? Even if he said it, I wouldn't believe him. Lu Jing looked at me with a complicated expression, a mix of grievance and regret. Just as he was about to speak, Su Shanshan came running towards him. Jingge, this dress fits me perfectly. Quick, tell me, do I look good? Lu Jing nodded, but his gaze remained fixed on me. Su Shanshan wasn't happy with Lu Jing's perfunctory attitude, so she lightly tapped his chest twice. You didn't even look at me. Do you not want to get engaged to me? Lu Jing didn't answer. His gaze was still fixed on me. It's been a long time since he looked at me with such focus. Wherever Su Shanshan was, his gaze would always drift to her unconsciously. Now that I'm leaving, he actually can't bear to let me go. Hearing the words engagement, Mama Li went crazy again. If my aunt hadn't stopped her, she would have torn Su Shanshan to shreds. Mrs. Li, whom I had tricked, brought up the incident of my molestation in front of everyone. It's all Lu Jing's fault for taking you to the bar and not protecting you. You were scared, but you're okay now, right? Everyone knew that was my sore spot. Forget it. For the first 3 days after it happened, I was completely out of my mind. I didn't eat or sleep, just caused a ruckus day and night. My aunts, uncles, no one could calm me down. Only Lu Jing could get me to sleep peacefully. When Auntie Li suggested Lu Jing and I get engaged, no one objected. 8. Now that I've finally pulled myself out of that difficult situation and decided not to marry Lu Jing, they naturally won't object either. But what Auntie Li just said might send me spiraling again. My uncle's eyes were filled with a murderous glint. Lu Jing kept giving Auntie Li glances, trying to get her to stop talking, but Auntie Li, as if blind to all social cues, continued to rub salt in my wounds. From now on, you absolutely must not go to bars. Those kinds of places are full of all sorts of shady characters. It's very easy for a young girl to get into trouble. My uncle was about to get up in anger, but my aunt held him back. Teacher Li was at the bar that day too, wasn't she? Why was she wearing a mask in the middle of summer? Was she sick? Or was there something she didn't want to reveal, since you were there? Why didn't you just call Yaya home, knowing her secret was out? Mama Li didn't dare utter another word. To lighten the mood, Auntie asked about the college admissions. Is Yaya still applying to the National University of Defense Technology? Has the list come out yet? Your auntie has already prepared your suitcase, computer, and other things you'll need for school. I put down my chopsticks. No, I applied to the Open University, and the list just came out. I didn't let anyone down. I got in. Why? Relatives and friends offered many words of praise and blessing. Su Shanshan spoke up, completely out of turn. You, a cop, with your pampered princess attitude, do you really think you could handle that kind of hardship? Would a police officer's salary even buy you one dress? Lu Jing wanted to cover Su Shanshan's mouth, but she playfully kissed his palm. These kinds of intimate little gestures are sweet and exciting when it's just the two of them, but in public, they just look incredibly tacky. Lu Jing blushed, not daring to even lift his head. I retorted, neither humbly nor arrogantly, someone like me is actually the most suitable for public security studies. I can truly be unyielding in the face of power, incorruptible by wealth, and wholeheartedly serve the people. If someone like you were to join the police force, that would truly be harmful to yourself and others. A small bribe would buy you off, and the slightest threat would make you buckle under pressure. My uncle applauded enthusiastically. Well said, our public security system needs talent like you. On behalf of the Provincial Public Security Department, I welcome you, my aunt chimed in. Then I'll reluctantly represent the Procuratorate and welcome you. Su Shanshan, completely oblivious, questioned my aunt and uncle, asking why they were representing the Provincial Public Security Department and the Procuratorate to welcome me. It's not like they own the place. Lu Jing had already given up on dealing with Su Shanshan. The mocking looks from everyone made him wish he could just disappear into a hole. Lu Jing left with Su Shanshan before they even finished their meal. Her foolishness only appeared as innocence when it was just him. When exposed to others, it's called humiliation. Mama Li also left midway through. After dinner, I didn't go back to the Lu family's house. I just checked into a hotel. My aunt sent a server to the Lu family's house to help me pack my things. After 2 days at the hotel, I went back to my own home. My house hadn't been lived in for 3 years. Everything was just as it had been when Mom was alive, except for the withered flowers on the balcony. After a quick tidy up, I put on one of Mom's old dresses and lay in her favorite rocking chair, dreaming of being loved. My mom was a beautiful and elegant woman. She loved to dress up and have fun. Mom spoiled me rotten. She gave me anything I wanted. She said I grew up without a father and was a sensitive girl. She had to give me so much love for me to grow up healthy, but before I could even grow up, she was gone. After I received my admission letter, I took a picture and sent it to my dad. I want to go see him. I wonder if he's available right now. I never heard back from my dad. But I did get an apology from Lu Jing. Yuan, I'm sorry. Whenever you and Shanshan argued, I always took her side and overlooked you. I don't like her, and I never thought about getting engaged to her. I just felt sorry for her and wanted to help her. I believe what he said is true. He liked Su Shanshan, but not enough to want to marry her. Half the reason he couldn't forget Su Shanshan in his previous life was because he couldn't have her. The more unattainable something is, the more you desire it. Once it's within easy reach, it loses its appeal. After much deliberation, I replied to him with a single sentence. I will eventually meet the person who will always stand by me, be it friendship or love. I just want someone who will always be on my side. The day I left for school, Lu Jing wanted to see me off at the train station. It wouldn't be good for your girlfriend to misunderstand. Lu Jing frowned slightly. She's not my girlfriend. I've already made it clear to her. I just smiled faintly. She doesn't see it that way. After Su Shanshan accepted the engagement dress from Li Mama, she started acting like Lu Jing's fiancé. She even messaged me, warning me to stay away from her man. After I blocked her, she borrowed someone else's phone to text me again. It's driving me crazy. I want to change my phone number. Lu Jing didn't say a word, just took the luggage from my hand and walked off. I deliberately walked very slowly behind him. creating a long distance between us. 09. I didn't look at him, nor did I speak to him. I ignored him just as he had ignored me in his past life. Lu Jing sensed my distance, turning his head several times as if to speak, but in the end, he remained silent. He knew that some things, after all, could never go back to the way they were. Maybe it was to make up for something, or maybe it was just out of politeness. Lu Jing bought me a big bag of snacks at the supermarket in the station. I picked out a pack of original flavor sunflower seeds from it. Lu Jing was surprised. You don't like the others? Don't all you girls like to eat these kinds of things? Shan, he can't go 3 sentences without mentioning Su Shanshan, and he still claims he doesn't like her. Is he lying to me or to himself? Not all girls like those snacks. Su Shanshan does. You remembered all her preferences, but you forgot that I like original flavor sunflower seeds. Lu Jing suddenly covered his face, lowered his head in shame, and choked out an apology. I'm sorry, I smiled, a sense of relief washing over me, and pulled my luggage towards the ticket gate. I didn't even say goodbye to Lu Jing, because I never wanted to see him again. I took a slow sleeper train, so I could enjoy the scenery along the way. The girl sitting across from me saw I was holding a civil code textbook and asked if I was a freshman and which university I was from. After I asked, I found out her name was Wei Wei, and she was also from the Public Security University. That's incredibly rare. The Public Security University only recruited 2 female students from our province this year. I ran into them as soon as I got on the bus. She's quite the social butterfly. After only 3 minutes of chatting, she started calling me older sister and even added me on WeChat. We studied the civil code together, and talked about our dreams and futures. We shared snacks. The more we talked, the more we clicked. It felt like we should have met ages ago. It wasn't until I got out of the car that I checked my phone and saw a message from Lu Jing. I'm sorry, I've neglected you these past 2 years. How can I make it up to you? Not 2 years, it's been 30 years, but I don't need to make up for anything. I deleted all of Lu Jing's contact information and changed my phone number. When winter break started, I went home and visited my homeroom teacher. I overheard him mention that Su Shanshan had been expelled and was repeating a year. I was quite surprised. She was doing so well. Why would she be expelled? The homeroom teacher looked a bit embarrassed. I heard it was because she stole something from her roommate. I guessed right. She couldn't resist temptation. In her previous life, she was probably expelled for the same reason, right? Why did Lu Jing back then mistakenly think I was the one who did it? Does he habitually blame me for anything bad that happens to Su Shanshan? In this life, I wasn't at the National University of Defense Technology, and I cut ties with him early on. That's why he didn't suspect me. A year later, I was on a mission with my senior colleagues when I saw Su Shanshan at a nightclub. She was intimately wrapped in the arms of a shifty-eyed rich second generation. It suddenly dawned on me that in her previous life, she might not have married that idle rich kid just to make Lu Jing give up on her. She only married him so quickly because she liked his money. She clearly bowed down to money, yet she wanted to leave Lu Jing with the impression that she sacrificed herself for love, to make Lu Jing live with guilt for the rest of his life. Later, her leaving the rich second generation wasn't necessarily due to domestic violence, because at that time, the rich second generation's family went bankrupt, and Lu Jing was no longer controlled by his parents. He's got money, power, and connections, and my relationship with him isn't good either. She saw a chance to rekindle her old flame with Lu Jing, so she used the excuse of domestic abuse to seek his protection. Lu Jing still had feelings for her and owed her a favor, so they hit it off immediately. Lu Jing maintained his boundaries as a married man, never having a physical relationship with Su Shanshan. Su Shanshan couldn't sit still anymore and started sending me suggestive photos and videos. She deliberately provoked me, trying to get me to confront Lu Jing and target her. The more I made things difficult for her, the more Lu Jing felt he owed her and protected her. She used these petty, underhanded tricks to slowly drive a wedge between Lu Jing and me. Eventually, she successfully took my place. In my past life, both Lu Jing and I were targets of her schemes. I can't believe I lost to such a despicable person, and so miserably at that. I'm not letting this go. Rich kids are also on our radar. As soon as Su Shanshan's urine test comes back positive, she's done for. Just look at her ecstatic face. You know she's not clean. Thanks to my malicious instigation, Su Shanshan is now facing 3 charges: disturbing the peace, resisting arrest, and assaulting an officer. In the end, Su Shanshan was sentenced to 4 years. During her detention, Su Shanshan repeatedly pleaded with Lu Jing for help. Lu Jing couldn't even leave campus, so how could he possibly come all the way to Beijing to save her? The Chinese New Year of her junior year, I ran into Lu Jing at the class reunion. He was in military uniform, tall, handsome, and exuded an aura of integrity. He really stood out among all the other well-dressed men. Most of the women's gazes were fixed on him. Everyone was really warm and welcoming when they saw me. It wasn't because they missed me after all these years, it's simply because we've all matured and understand the importance of relationships. I feel the same way they do. Solving cases also requires a strong network of connections. All of you here today have the potential to become future industry elites and business magnates. I don't fear anyone, nor do I easily offend anyone. I was already prepared for Lu Jing to question me about Su Shanshan. 10. I was surprised when the first thing he said was, "That's a beautiful dress, it really suits your style." I simply said, "Thank you." Neither his praise nor his criticism could stir my emotions anymore. Some classmates brought up Su Shanshan's sentencing. "Lu Jing, didn't you two go to the National University of Defense Technology together? Why did she drop out? And what did she get arrested for in Beijing?" Lu Jing took a sip of his drink and said indifferently, "I don't know her very well, I'm not clear on her affairs." With a simple, "don't know her very well and not clear," he dismissed the person who once made his heart race. So, he could be this cold to Su Shanshan too. It's truly ironic. In my past life, I tried for 30 years and still couldn't make Lu Jing forget Su Shanshan. In this life, I did nothing, yet they parted ways early on. Is this fate or human intervention? Lu Jing invited me to his place for a few days. "My schedule is packed, I really can't make time." Lu Jing's eyes darkened. "Is there really no chance for us?" I reminded Lu Jing. "We're practically strangers now. After all, you already used our past friendship to plead for Su Shanshan. I told you, from now on, we owe each other nothing." Lu Jing didn't say another word to me, just drank glass after glass. He held his liquor incredibly well. All the other guys combined couldn't outdrink him. As the night deepened, the girls started leaving one by one. "I'm about to leave too." Lu Jing, who was in the middle of a drinking contest, stood up. Refusing him probably wouldn't work, so I chose to stay silent. Lu Jing dropped me off at the hotel entrance. He then asked the question that had been bothering him for a long time, "Why don't you contact my mom?" I didn't want to answer, but he insisted on getting a clear explanation. "My mom didn't do anything to wrong you, did she? Why did you even delete her WeChat?" Since he insists on knowing, I won't keep it from him for Mrs. Li anymore. I don't want him to think I'm heartless, and it's better to let him give up sooner, because the two men who molested me were incited by her. She was also at the bar that night. Lu Jing stumbled back a step, nearly falling to the ground. "This can't be true, she wouldn't do that to you." I scoffed. "Why don't you go ask her yourself?" Lu Jing refused to believe it was all a setup orchestrated by his own mother. "No, she wouldn't do that to you. She always treated you like her own daughter." I retorted. "If she didn't have something to hide, why didn't she dare contact me for 3 years? Su Shanshan always told you it was a setup by me, and you believed her, didn't you? Why don't you believe it's a setup by your mom now?" Lu Jing couldn't look at me. He got cold feet. So he did suspect me after all. He'd rather believe Su Shanshan's slander about me than trust my character. I have no lingering feelings for him whatsoever. "You can go. I don't want to see you again." After Lu Jing left, I immediately called Wei Wei that night to plan a trip. Lu Jing called me from 3 different phones, but I blocked all of them. After graduating from university, Wei Wei and I started working at the provincial department. On our first day at work, we were bombarded with a huge stack of blind date profiles. The profiles we each received were almost identical. When we went to my uncle's for dinner, we were handed yet another folder full of blind date profiles. My aunt had personally put them together. "These are hand-picked by me, specifically to your taste. Any one of them comes from a good family, with a clean background. You can pick any one with your eyes closed. I don't want to choose." I just gave them to Wei Wei. 11. 3 months later, Wei Wei eloped. She took a liking to my aunt's nephew, making him a relative of mine. 3 years later, Lu Jing showed up in my office. "I hear you're still single. Would you consider me?" I raised an eyebrow slightly and asked him, without much emotion, "Do you think that's possible?" Lu Jing gave a bitter smile. "I knew you'd say that. It's okay, I'll wait until you've cooled down. I've already applied for a transfer with my superiors, and I'll be moving here in 3 months. I want to buy a house here. Do you have any recommendations for developments?" "No, I'm very busy with work. You can see yourself out." After Lu Jing left, I applied for an external transfer with my superiors. By the time Lu Jing bought his house and came looking for me in the hall again, I was already gone. Go on. When I turned 30, Lu Jing came knocking on my door again. Yeah, I know you're still single. Can't you really consider me? I haven't dated anyone else all these years. I've been waiting for you." Every time I ran into old high school classmates, they'd bring up Lu Jing. They'd talk about how successful he was at a young age, praising his resourcefulness and wisdom. I also regret that he never met the right person. But I never waited for Lu Xing. It's not that I don't have a partner. I just don't believe in marriage or having children. I have a boyfriend. Lu Xing was startled, then smiled. Yeah, don't joke around. I know you're a very traditional woman. If you really had someone you liked, how could you not? A handsome, tall, and well-built man emerged from the bedroom, wearing a bathrobe. Honey, who is he? Your colleague or a new neighbor? Lu Xing's eyes immediately landed on the suggestive red marks on the man's chest, and he stared at me in disbelief. Should I ask Lu Xing if he wants to come in for a cup of tea? Lu Xing fled in a panic. I closed the door, ready to go back to sleep for a bit longer. The man pinned me against the door. Is he your ex-boyfriend? Is he trying to get back together with you? I slapped Wei Chen on the forehead. You'd better rein it in, otherwise, don't blame me for not giving your sister face and kicking you out. To put it nicely, you're my boyfriend. To put it bluntly, you're just my fuck buddy. Don't interfere with my private life, in any way. Wei Chen, no longer acting like an overbearing CEO, circled around me like a little puppy. I know I messed up, sis, I'll be a good boyfriend, I promise. Next time he shows up, I'll act like the bigger man. I won't let you lose face out there. After I sent Wei Chen away, the first thing I did was call Wei Wei to chew her out. Did you give Lu Xing my address? What were you thinking? Did you want to see him fight your brother? If you want to mess with your brother, just tell me directly. Why involve an outsider? Wei Wei's slurping of coffee was incredibly loud, like a hungry pig fighting for food. I just felt a little sorry for him, seeing him looking for you everywhere and not finding a single trace. What, was it bad timing? Did he interrupt your sleep? I scoffed. Pitying a man means a lifetime of bad luck. Wei Wei sighed. My poor brother. If I'd known you were so heartless, I never would have introduced him to you. As if anyone cared about him. You can always introduce him to a more compassionate goddess now. It's too late. My brother just called me, asking how he could defeat his love rival without a formal title, without even fighting. Is she trying to propose to her brother again, in a different way? As long as I don't agree, no one can convince me to get married. What does it matter if I get married or not, if we can be together for life? What does a little book matter? If feelings change, a marriage certificate won't save anything. Isn't it better to be free and follow your heart? Lu Xing's extra story. I thought I had plenty of time to win Pan Yu back. I thought she just needed time to forgive me. I patiently waited for her to forget about the unpleasant things, until I saw that man in a bathrobe at her house. She's already fallen in love with someone else. How could the girl I protected for 18 years be taken by another man? The moment I saw him, I had only one thought, kill him, but I couldn't. I've already upset Yaya. Doing anything else in front of her would only make her angrier. I went back and found Uncle Pan. Uncle Pan has always been fond of me, so if he could mediate for us, I'd always have a chance. Uncle Pan hadn't been able to reach Yaya for a whole year. He's her father, after all. That's when I remembered Uncle Pan was rarely home, so his relationship with Yaya was quite distant. 11. Even when her aunt passed away, he only came back for a week before leaving again. He never came back after that. He didn't even come back for Yaya's 18th birthday. As a father, he never fulfilled his responsibilities. During her toughest 3 years, it was just my mom and I who were there for her, and we, all of us, betrayed her at the same time. It turns out the most pitiful girl was never Su Shanshan, who came from a poor family. It was Yaya, who seemed to have everything but was actually all alone. She had powerful backing, yet not a single person was there for her to lean on. My mom's kindness towards her was always calculated, and my affection had long since been given to someone else. She lived all alone in this world, with no one to truly love or accompany her. So now, she doesn't love any of us. What have I done? Why did I treat her that way? Why did I feel like she was so self-assured, like she didn't need me? Why could I never see her helplessness and struggles? Now, she's finally done with me, and no more Uncle Pan. This is our just deserts. Su Shanshan came to me again, wanting to get back together. A woman who's been with several men and served time in prison. She's not even worth a second glance from me. If she hadn't constantly played the victim and sought sympathy in front of me, Yaya never would have left. I hate her. And I want to frame her and send her back to jail. The moment I thought of my mom, I agreed. I took her back to my hometown to see my mom. I told her, if you can convince my mom to accept you as her daughter-in-law, I'll marry you. Just as I expected, my mom and Su Shanshan tormented each other for over half a year. The more they tried to get along, the more they wished each other dead. Eventually, they had a huge fight and both ended up in the hospital. My mom threatened to jump off a building if I married Su Shanshan. In the end, I didn't marry Su Shanshan. It wasn't because I was afraid my mom would kill herself. It was because Yao Qianling, the commander's daughter, took a liking to me. She's absolutely set on marrying me, making a huge fuss about it. The commander, completely worn down by his precious daughter, came to ask me personally what I thought. What am I supposed to think? A woman this headstrong and willful, of course, I'll marry her and bring her home to serve my mother. On my wedding day, my mom, acting like the mother-in-law, demanded Yao Qianling kneel and serve her tea. Yao Qianling, who grew up pampered and adored, had never knelt for anyone in her life. She immediately splashed the tea right into my mom's face. My mom raised her hand to strike, but Yao Qianling caught her arm and started to arm wrestle with her. The guests snickered amongst themselves. Both the commander and my dad were beet red. Not knowing what to do, they both looked at me. I'm not taking anyone's side. This daughter-in-law is exactly the kind my mom wanted. From a good family, a young lady of means who could help my future. What reason does she have not to be tolerant? Yao Qianling cried, made a fuss, and threatened the commander countless times just to marry into this family. What reason does she have not to accept my mother as her mother-in-law? I put all my energy into work, completely ignoring the constant drama between my mom and my wife at home. When I'm in a good mood, I'll go back for a visit and spend some time with the kids. When I'm in a bad mood, I just stay at work. My wife praises me, saying I'm not like other men who only side with their mothers and bully their wives. She says I'm the best husband ever, capable, ambitious, and I never mess around outside of our marriage. Marrying me was the best decision she ever made in her life. Are women really that easy to please? Is Yaya like that too? My mom called me unfilial for letting my wife bully her. I told her to think about Su Shanshan, ask her if she really wants Su Shanshan as her daughter-in-law, or Yao Qianling. My mom blurted out that she wanted Panyu to be her daughter-in-law. I couldn't take it anymore and stormed out of the house, crying silently in the heavy rain. I want to marry Panyu too. She, who always said she'd never marry or have kids, got married to the man I saw in a bathrobe at her house. She's no longer the childhood sweetheart who used to follow me around, and she stopped calling my mom Auntie Lee a long time ago. Our fate was sealed the moment I first felt pity for Su Shanshan. The rest of my life stretches long, and I can never softly call her Yaya again. If my mom hadn't hired someone to molest her back then, maybe we would have been a happy family. It's all my fault. Why were you so good to Su Shanshan, to make everyone mistakenly believe I liked her? If only I had understood myself and Yaya sooner, maybe our kids would be as tall as me by now. If I could turn back time, I'd give anything. End of text. Story 2. I am the cherished first love of a wealthy family who was brought back to life 4 years after my death. By then, my replacement had already taken my place successfully, wearing my face and taunting me smugly. Everything that was yours is now mine. You're too late. However, she didn't realize that the allure of the beloved first love is so strong that once I appear, everyone abandons their principles to come to me. 1. I'm back, Mom. As I pushed open the grand doors of the Shin family home without any resistance, I greeted my mother, who was sitting on the sofa, with a smile. Just like every time I returned home, it seemed like an ordinary day, but suddenly, there was a loud clang. It was the sound of her teacup smashing on the floor. Her response to my return was a tearful cry. My Yushi is back. I am Shin Yushi, the young mistress of the Shin family, who died from heart failure. In my dying moments, I was bound by a system for quick transmigration, and I realized that I was just the tragically early deceased first love in a story about replacements. The real protagonist is my look-alike replacement. Due to her appearance, she crossed social classes and caught the attention of the wealthy elite, becoming the darling of their world. Eventually, my parents took her as their goddaughter, my childhood friend became her lover, and my younger brother obeyed her every command. She received everyone's love, but all this was predicated on my death. So, when the system asked if I was willing to complete the task and return to life in my original world, I didn't hesitate to agree. Why should my life be a mere stepping stone for someone else? Even my tragic death being used as a starting point for someone else's happiness. So, I came back. Mom, it's me. I'm back. My mother's embrace was as warm as ever, but now it felt almost suffocatingly tight, as if she was afraid that I would disappear if she let go. I sighed and gently patted her frail body, comforting her. The system altered memories, changing my death from a futile medical rescue 4 years ago to a disappearance in a maritime accident. She thought she had been searching for me day after day for years, now, regained what was lost. However, this tearful mother-daughter reunion was soon interrupted by a noise at the door. 2. Mom, look what we bought for you. Before she even appeared, a sweet yet unfamiliar female voice rang out. A young girl carrying a box of pastries rushed in first. Soon after, I heard an extremely familiar voice, filled with indulgence. Slow down. Don't run. With just that phrase, I recognized him. Xia Jiha. The boy I grew up with. Mom, do we have guests? Why are you crying? This was my brother, Shinju, who spoke as he entered, but with my back to him, he couldn't recognize me. He only saw our mother and a young girl embracing and crying, and he hesitated before asking. I felt my mother grip my hand even tighter, her eyes red and lips trembling, wanting to speak but tears kept flowing. Mom, don't cry, what's going on? Who is this sister? Ah, Jiha, why are you pinching me? It hurts. The sweet voice spoke again, this time with a hint of whining complaint. Jiha seemed to sense something, his intense gaze fixed on my back, indifferent to the young girl's complaint, his Adam's apple moving as he tried to utter a familiar but long strange name. Why is everyone acting so weird today? The security guard at the door even said I had just come back a while ago. How strange, the girl muttered, glancing at our crying mother. I glanced at my silent brother and Jiheng, whose mood was visibly off. Finally, my gaze rested on myself, and a sudden uneasy premonition rose in my heart. As if to confirm this premonition, I emerged from my mother's embrace, turned my head, and looked at them. Ah Jiheng, long time no see, Yushi. Jiheng's voice trembled almost imperceptibly, while Shinju was much more outspoken. Shin Yushi, you dare to come back, where have you been all these years? Did you know I really thought you were dead? How could you? The 18-year-old boy was far from composed. He spoke through clenched teeth, his eyes frighteningly red, tears falling like tiny pearls uncontrollably. Feeling guilty, I patted his shoulder. Ah Ju has grown up. Back then, he was just a 14-year-old kid, and now he's all grown up. Seemingly unable to hold back any longer, he rested his head on my shoulder, sobbing softly. Sister, I missed you so much. This was a reunion filled with both sadness and joy. It was only when a food container dropped to the ground that everyone noticed the girl who had been standing at the door, silent until now. I looked at her, her face, so similar to mine, had lost all color and looked terribly disheveled. We sat down together for a dinner where everyone had different thoughts, surrounded by dishes I loved. My mother kept serving me food zealously, while Shinju peeled shrimp for me conscientiously. When Jiheng subconsciously placed my favorite plum pork ribs into Yun Tian's bowl, everyone paused momentarily. Thank you. Yun Tian tightened her palm, her tone calm as she thanked him, her first words since learning of my identity. Jiheng paused, then responded faintly. I didn't let the undercurrents at the dinner table bother me and continued eating calmly. Your room has remained unchanged. I've been cleaning it every day myself. Now that you're back, go rest well. The doctor will come to check on you later, and your father will be back tomorrow. My mother's incessant chatter was her way of showing care, and I responded to each point. They didn't say much about Yun Tian, but I wasn't flustered. This was the confidence of being loved. What I hadn't expected was that if I didn't go to the mountains would come to me, late at night. My room door was knocked. Opening the door, it was Yun Tian's familiar face, standing there with a glass of milk. I raised an eyebrow at her, somewhat surprised, thinking it was an attempt to ease the awkwardness, but unexpectedly, her expression changed from the silence at the dinner table to one of scorn. You should have stayed dead. Why come back? Do you think you can beat me? I've been winning them over for 4 years. Except for this room, everything you once had is now mine. You've come back too late, understand. Strategy was a familiar term. Her words had just ended when, without waiting for my reaction, she poured the milk over her own face and then, with a scream, fell to the ground as the glass shattered with a crisp sound. Tears streamed down her face. Sister, I'm sorry. I just wanted to please you. There was no malice. It had been a long time since I had experienced such a low-level trap, and in that moment, I even found it somewhat amusing. Coldly observing the pitiful girl on the ground, her clothes thin, the milk soaking her hair, her eyes red and fearful, overall evoking pity. In truth, I wasn't keen on competing with Yun Tian. Whatever her reasons, she had been the one providing some comfort to my loved ones over the years. I bore her no great malice, only wishing she would understand the situation and back down on her own. But her hostility towards me was clearly not insignificant. The commotion of the night always draws attention, especially on such a day. None of the people in the house had any intention of sleeping, so when Yun Tian screamed, a few other doors opened one after another. What happened? Is it Yushi? Did something happen to Yushi? Mother Shen, pale-faced and hastily dressed, had even put on her shoes incorrectly. It was only when she came out and saw me standing there unharmed that she breathed a sigh of relief. Over the years, her sleep had been poor, frequently disturbed by dreams filled with unsettling images. Mom, after confirming I was safe, Yun Tian's plaintive call finally reached her ears. What happened? Why did you fall? Mother Shen frowned as she looked at the shards of the cup next to Yun Tian. Before Yun Tian could reply, she spoke again. how could you be so careless? What if the broken glass had hurt someone? Get up now. It was sister, Yun Tian pursed her lips, on the verge of tears. But her performance was once again interrupted. What happened to your hand? Shinju very clearly grasped my hand, noticing a small, bleeding wound on the pale back of my hand, likely caused by a splinter of glass. It wasn't painful, and I didn't feel much else, but Shinju's brows were furrowed as if facing a major crisis. Can't you take better care of yourself? Didn't you know you were hurt? He chided me, instinctively blowing on the wound like he used to when we were children. Before quickly realizing, I'll get the first aid kit. Saying this, he was about to run off. Mother Shin also hurried over, distressed. Ju, go quickly, she's bleeding. Yushi, does it hurt a lot? It's my fault. I didn't notice you were hurt. She held my injured hand, filled with guilt. Yun Tian, once again ignored by everyone, couldn't help but twist her face in a moment of frustration. Ever since her face had helped her marry into a wealthy family, she hadn't tasted defeat. The doting of her parents, the care from her lover, and the attention from her younger brother were all within easy reach. She thought she was the happiest person in the world, but why did the deceased have to come back to life? Mom, it's okay, it's not painful. I noticed Yun Tian's resentment and jealousy, knowing she wouldn't let this go easily. Some things, when possessed for too long, are subconsciously assumed to be one's own. Mom, I'm in pain, I'm hurt too. Yun Tian, seizing the moment when Mother Shin was distracted, grabbed a piece of glass, her palm bleeding profusely. She spread out her cup palm pitifully, tears welling up in her eyes, longing for her mother's attention and affection. The first aid kit, I've got it. Shinju appeared just in time, pausing briefly as he saw Yun Tian's bloodied hand. Ju, it hurts. She knew exactly which tactics worked best with Shinju. Every time she showed weakness and dependency like this, he would reluctantly but carefully take care of her, always catering to her desires. Though it was just a brief pause, she saw it as a sign of hope and called out again. Ju, Shinju pursed his lips, the first aid kit in his hands now taken by Mother Shin, who hurriedly pulled me into the room to treat my wound. Ju, help her up. Of course, I was aware of the neglect from my mother and brother, focused more on me, partly because they feared I would feel uncomfortable because of Yun Tian. After all, having such a similar face, I wasn't naive and understood well the role she had played during my absence. My speaking out was unexpected even to my mother. She paused, looked back, and since Shinju always listened to me, he carefully navigated around the debris to help Yun Tian up from the ground. Ah Ju, do you and Mom dislike me now? Yun Tian stood up, leaning on his strength, her eyes red with grievance. All her pretense couldn't stand up against a single sentence from me. Shinju did not answer her. I just wanted to bring a cup of milk to my sister. I really didn't mean any harm. I don't know why she pushed me. Mom ignores me. My sister hates me. Ah Ju, are you trying to drive me away? Ah Ju, if I apologize to my sister, will she forgive me? I don't want to leave you all. My sister, Yun Tian, Shinju called her name indifferently, stopping her mid-sentence. She snapped out of her emotions and looked up at Shinju. His calm gaze met hers. As if he were looking at a stranger, he said, Shinyushi is my sister. With that one statement, Yun Tian understood his implication. Shinyushi was his sister, not hers, so her constant reference to Yushi as sister was incorrect. Shinyushi was his sister, and thus his trust in her was unconditional. He wouldn't believe a word against her. Tears fell one by one from Yun Tian's eyes as she spoke stubbornly. What about me? Ah Ju, what do these 3 years we spent together mean? You used to call me sister too. Her voice trailed off, choked with emotion. I never did. I never called you sister. Shinju denied. He had never called Yun Tian sister, except maybe the first time they met when he thought she was someone else. Yun Tian choked up. Recalling that instance, realizing Shinju was mostly silent, she thought he was just not very talkative. She hadn't expected that he had always clearly distinguished between his real sister and her, not even sparing the term sister, but she couldn't believe it. After 3 years of living together, she couldn't accept that Shinju had no feelings for her at all. Are we not family? She murmured to herself. This time, Shinju did not respond. He just gave Yun Tian a deep look and turned to go inside. Yun Tian's expression changed several times before she fell silent and followed Shinju inside. This was her first time entering this room, previously as taboo as any other. After becoming the adopted daughter of the Shin family, the room was styled completely differently from hers, yet every detail was exquisite. She had always thought that one day she would live here as the mistress, but in the end, it was its true master who opened it. My wound had been treated, and I hadn't missed the commotion at the door. Miss Yun's wound should be treated too. Ah Ju, help her out. The medicine box is here. I spoke up, my voice gentle and kind, the way Shinju remembered best. Okay, sure. Shinju did not refuse and complied obediently, but Yuntian felt humiliated. She thought I was showing off, her eyes occasionally sweeping over me with a dark look, yet, as if unaware, I continued talking to Shin's mother. The doctor said you are severely depleted, you need to take good care of yourself, and let me know immediately if you feel unwell. Yes, I'll listen to Mom. Don't worry too much about me. I'm not a child anymore. No matter how old you get, in Mom's eyes, you'll always be a child, the treasure I hold dear in my heart. Shin's mother was a loving mother, but she rarely expressed her love so openly. I felt a twinge in my nose. Thinking of all the tasks I had completed in strange little worlds, never daring to stop for the sake of revival, I'd been through a lot, and the belief that sustained me was always the idea of returning home. I thought I was strong enough, but a few simple words from my mother could still easily soften my heart. A sharp pain caused Shinju to pause momentarily as Yun Tian severely hurt herself, the wound in her palm deep and embedded with shards of glass, requiring careful removal. Endure it a bit, Shinju said softly, his eyes and eyebrows lowered as he patiently completed the task his sister had assigned. Yun Tian, her voice nasal, hummed in response. She remained silent thereafter, gripping the crumpled hem of her skirt tightly whenever the pain intensified. Soon, Shinju had her wound neatly bandaged. I rubbed my temples wearily, and Mother Shin, noticing my gesture, spoke up, it's late. Everyone should go to sleep. Whatever matters there are can wait until tomorrow. She glanced deliberately at Yun Tian, seemingly warning her to stay in line. Yun Tian's words stuck in her throat as Shinju packed up and stood, nodding at me before he left, saying, Sister, good night. I smiled and responded warmly, Ah Ju, see you tomorrow seemed more hopeful than just good night, and Shinju's steps lightened a bit. Mother Shin had left with Yun Tian, and I knew they probably had more to discuss. Sure enough, just as I closed my eyes, I heard voices. My experiences as a task performer had left me with some unusual abilities and talents. Tian, is your hand okay? It was Mother's gentle voice, followed soon by a weeping female voice. Mom, I thought you didn't want me anymore. It hurts so much. My hand and my heart both hurt. Why didn't you pay attention to me just now? I'm your daughter too, Yun Tian cried, asserting her place as a daughter. Albeit not by birth, she just got back. She's understandably sensitive. I thought to look after her a bit more. Can you understand, Mom? You're all my children, and I love you all the same. Besides, you've been by my side for so many years. How could I not want you? Silly child, don't overthink it. Tomorrow I'll have a doctor come over to properly bandage your hand again. We can't have any scars. Mother Shin switched from her cold demeanor in front of me to a completely different, caring tone. I listened, my brow furrowing, not understanding her intentions. Until Yun Tian spoke up again. I knew Mom loved me too. Sister is just too sensitive. I didn't mean to compete with her. I genuinely wanted to be part of this family. She's really hostile towards me. She even purposely. Yes, Tian, you're a good child. I'll speak to Yushi about this. You'll just have to bear with it for a bit. I'll need to check the surveillance footage tomorrow to see who's been negligent. Yushi mentioned you tripped over something outside her room door, which is quite dangerous, causing both of you to get injured. Mother Shin interrupted Yun Tian, speaking mostly to herself, her tone slightly annoyed as if she was truly displeased with the careless work of the servants. Yun Tian choked up, surveillance, so there were cameras at the room door. No wonder Shinju didn't believe her earlier. It's not that, I was just careless and tripped over myself. Mom, you don't need to bother. I'll be more careful next time. I'm sorry for also causing sister to get hurt. Yun Tian quickly changed her statement, swallowing back any accusation she was about to make. She can't shoot herself in the foot. Oh, is that so? Shin's mother seemed somewhat surprised. Yes, it's my fault for still being so impetuous at my age. I'll apologize to my sister tomorrow, Yun Tian said surprisingly easily. It might be because she was overly confident about their relationship over the years. To her, it was just a minor hiccup that didn't matter much. 11. Host, are you feeling sad? The quiet outside had returned, but I was still pondering the conversation between my mother and Yun Tian. Although my mother seemed to have little affection for Yun Tian, she was very comforting behind the scenes. Every word seemed meaningful, appearing to show concern, but in reality, they were all meant to favor me. And Yun Tian, why did she so easily believe what my mother said? I was reminded of the term strategy she used. Does she also have a system like me? Before I could figure it out, the system, which had been unbound, suddenly spoke in my mind, asking if I was feeling sad. I paused, somewhat astonished. Why have you come back? I still want to see if the life you chose is worse than listening to me, not returning to the original world, and choosing immortality. No, this is where I belong. I shook my head, denying the system's words. But your mother has acknowledged another daughter. You're not the only one anymore. Like all the past world's beloveds, you will eventually be replaced by a substitute. No, maybe you have already been replaced. Isn't it good to live in memories where one is always cherished? The system didn't quite understand human emotions. It could only analyze from actual situations. That won't happen. I trust my mother. A mother's love for her child cannot be faked, and I firmly believe she loves me deeply. My conversation with the system ended with its silence, and I knew it hadn't left for good. The night grew more silent, and I closed my eyes in fatigue. It was my soul that was more exhausted than my body, though each death wasn't the end. The recurring agony was something I had genuinely experienced. 12. Brother Zhiheng, are you here to take me out? When I saw Xie Zhiheng's figure, Yun Tian had already eagerly thrown herself into his arms. With Shen's mother's comforting words from last night, she felt she hadn't lost. It was just the initial impact of the returned beloved that was strong. Over time, she believed she would stick around. So, facing Xie Zhiheng, she was equally confident. I watched the two embracing not far away and stopped in my tracks. My hand is injured. Can you pamper me today? Yun Tian showed her newly bandaged palm to Xie Zhiheng, seeking sympathy. Usually, he would have been very sympathetic, but this time Xie Zhiheng paused, and after realizing, he pushed the person in his arms away. Sorry Tian, I'm not here for you today. Yushi, do you have time for a chat? He looked up at me. I raised an eyebrow, glanced at Yun Tian who was full of hostility towards me, and smiled in agreement. Sure. For the first time, Xie Zhiheng resisted Yun Tian's coquettish behavior, giving us a chance to be alone. In the cafe, we looked at each other in silence, so quiet that I thought he just wanted to have a coffee with me. I thought after such a long time, we would have a lot to talk about. Xie Zhiheng sighed deeply. I stopped stirring my coffee and looked up at him. What do you want to say? You're still the same as before, cutting straight to the point. He didn't leave any room for subtlety. He laughed, seemingly confident in his understanding of me. First, I owe you an apology regarding Yun Tian. I was wrong, he said, admitting his mistake of treating her as a stand-in for me. I will explain things to her clearly. Yushi, do we still have a chance? His gaze was intense as he looked at me, reminiscent of the unresolved tension between us 4 years ago. It's not possible anymore, I replied decisively. Leaving Xie Zhiheng stunned, he froze, unable to comprehend why I would respond this way. Why? He asked almost reflexively. Simply because I don't like you anymore, I answered without any burden. After so many years in this foreign world, I've seen enough of such dramas and even found them somewhat dull now. This meeting ended unpleasantly, but I quickly put it behind me. However, someone took it very seriously, enjoying your chat with someone else's boyfriend, sister. Yun Tian's voice suddenly emerged from behind me in the flower room. I paused in trimming the branches and turned to look at her. Don't you find it tiring, maintaining this facade? Before others, she played the weak and vulnerable, but with me, her tone was full of provocation. Tired? Why would I be tired? Playing your role allows me to live a life like yours, which is far too easy, but I just can't understand. Why are you still alive? She shed her frail disguise and became aggressively confrontational. How I live is none of your business. What's not yours will never be yours. Lives built on pretense never last. Isn't it better to be yourself? If you want, I can give you some money. I don't really care for the identity of the adopted daughter of the Shen family. I was willing to be merciful before things got out of hand, but I'm no saint ready to step aside and let her trample over me and claim a legitimate place in the Shen family. Your high and mighty attitude is truly annoying. At the end of the day, you're just being hypocritical. You must really hate me deep down. Shin Yushi, are you jealous of me, or are you scared? Yun Tian couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh, as if she had seen a weakness of mine that no one else knew. Shin Yushi, you're not as confident as you think you are. You're scared that even after your return, they will still choose me. After all, during the years you were gone, it was I who was by their side day and night. Haha. Yun Tian grew more convinced of her own words, her demeanor smug. I hate smart fools. Since that's the case, there's nothing left to discuss, I said, facing a face that bore a resemblance to mine but showed an expression I could never have. I closed my eyes, unable to bear it any longer. Of course, I will fight you to the end, Shin Yushi. I won't lose. Just wait and see. Her fighting spirit was palpable as she dropped these words, her departing figure exuding arrogance. Almost as if cued by her declaration of war, my luck started to turn. Little mishaps happened now and then, which I initially ignored, until a car accident almost broke my legs. Thankfully Shinju appeared just in time to save me. A narrowly avoided accident left my mother in tears and trembling with fear. I began to stay alert, and indeed, during the birthday banquet that day, another accident occurred. This was the first birthday I celebrated in 4 years since coming home. Attended by friends from my old social circle, they clinked glasses and reminisced with me. Compared to me, Yuntian's situation was much quieter. After all, an adopted daughter couldn't compare with one's own flesh and blood, let alone a stand-in, whether in terms of emotional ties or perceived value. These scions of wealthy families preferred to socialize with me. "Sister, this drink is for you," Yuntian said politely in front of others, almost too sweetly. I didn't take her glass but chose another from the waiter's tray. "Then I'll have the same as sister," she said, casting a subtle glance my way. I was willing to maintain the facade of cordiality with her and slightly nodded in agreement. She took the initiative to toast me, and in this battle between the true principal and the substitute, it seemed unsurprising that I had the upper hand. But I knew Yuntian wasn't someone who would give up easily, almost as soon as she made a move. I signaled with my eyes for someone to follow her. Soon after, a piercing scream erupted. Yuntian emerged from Shinju's room, her dress torn and her face flushed, stumbling as she ran. My heart tightened until a waiter passing by slipped something into my hand, calming me down. "Why did you drug my drink?" Yuntian accused, blushing with shame before fainting. Immediately, someone dialed for a doctor. The guests present, spurred by her outcry, cast strange glances my way. Some more perceptive ones even thought to take their leave, not wanting to offend anyone lightly. However, I spoke up at this moment. "Ladies and gentlemen, no need to rush off. I too am curious about the drugging Miss Yun mentions. Right and wrong cannot be established by mere words. This slander, I, Shinyushi, will not accept." Following my words, the room fell silent. Yuntian was quickly covered with a coat, and the doctor who arrived soon after began treating her. Minutes later, she regained consciousness. Upon opening her eyes and seeing me, her eyes reddened, her lips quivered, and her body shrank. "Jiheng has broken up with me. Do you still refuse to let me go? I know you hate me, thinking I'm unworthy to be your stand-in, but I've always regarded you as my sister, and Ju, he protects you so much. Are you afraid he'll monopolize the Shin family, so you want to frame him too? Even though I'm adopted, incest between siblings would be a huge scandal." Her words were filled with schemes and provocation, not just trying to alienate my family from me but also to tarnish my reputation. Is Shinyushi really such a person? It doesn't seem like it. Who knows? After all, with the years she's been missing, there's been a blank slate. Maybe she picked up some bad habits outside. People change. I actually think this Miss Yun is quite pitiable, indeed. When it came to the interests of family inheritance, some began to waver, and murmurs arose. "Yushi, Yuntian is innocent. The matter of the stand-in has nothing to do with her. If you have an issue, come at me." Whether it was a sympathy for the underdog or Xie Zhiheng's chivalrous spirit, he frowned and stood disapprovingly in front of me. "Are you sick? Have you had enough acting?" I looked up impatiently, failing to understand the meaning of such men in every little world I encountered. "Mom, I'm scared." Yuntian turned towards my mother standing behind me, suddenly as if seeing a savior. I turned around and was about to speak when my mother interrupted me for the first time. "Enough, stop this now." I was stunned because I knew that this was directed at me. My mother, whom I trusted unconditionally, was for the first time opposing me. Was she really siding with the stand-in? Yet, why was her hand trembling slightly? "I told you, you can't beat the female lead, host. I'm willing to give you another chance. Rebind with me." The system's voice, full of temptation, rang out again, still not giving up on persuading me after being silent for so long. "Shut up," I scolded in my mind, already annoyed. "What did you say I did again?" I asked, looking at Yuntian with a stern gaze. She seemed proud, basking in the scolding I received from her mother on her behalf. "Of course, it was about drugging. You didn't want to drink my cup of wine, so guiding me to drink another was your intention, right, sister? I can't believe you hate me so much, even to the point of hurting Ju. He's your own brother. You're too cold-hearted." Yuntian was crying, yet the look she gave me was one of bright defiance and pity. She seemed to think I had already lost. "Thanks for standing up for me. I just came back with a gift for my sister. Can someone tell me what's going on?" Shinju, who had said he was feeling unwell and resting in his room, suddenly entered neatly dressed from the doorway. He was holding an exquisite gift box, obviously not lying. Everyone was stunned. Since Shinju wasn't in the room, Yuntian's hasty exit earlier must have been self-directed. Yuntian was also confused. Although the lights were off, she clearly felt someone in the room. Miss Yun was so proactive just now. Turns out she mistook someone else. A young man said as he walked out of Shinju's room. His every move was casual, His shirt unbuttoned, revealing ambiguous red marks on his chest. This was Shinju's notorious playboy friend. While everyone's attention was diverted, I took the opportunity to grab Shinju's phone and inserted a memory card given to me by a waiter. The video on it showed Yun Tian's self-directed actions. "Is this the drugging you mentioned?" I pulled up the video of Yun Tian toasting to me, then secretly adding powder to her drink. She also specially had a servant bring water laced with drugs to Shinju under the guise of caring for him, then entered his room when the time was right, but she didn't expect that the person sleeping in the room wasn't Shinju, and the playboy, following his principle of taking advantage of situations, had allowed her approach. "How can it not be this way? This video is fake," Yun Tian exclaimed in disbelief, frantically calling out to her system in her mind. "Why aren't you helping me block this? What are you doing? Do you even know who your real master is?" I was taken aback, catching the desperation in Yun Tian's eyes. How could I hear her inner voice? Her system remained unresponsive, but I sensed a familiar energy fluctuation. As the mocking gazes almost drowned her, Yun Tian called out desperately, "Mom," as if commanded. Shin's mother suddenly spoke up, "Enough, Yu Shi. Tian was just joking with you, don't take it to heart." I couldn't believe such disjointed words came from my most trusted mother. Anger tinted Shinju's face, but I held back the impulsive young man from lashing out. The expressions of the guests varied, but Yun Tian was visibly pleased. "Right, sister, it was just a joke, a naive prank, you won't hold it against me, right? I just wanted to foster a closer sisterly bond. I won't dare do it again." She cheekily stuck out her tongue, her flimsy excuse convincing no one. But it was the protective stance of Shin's mother. "Of course, I wouldn't mind. If we were at a circus, I suppose I'd be more supportive there." I dropped the comment and quickly led the increasingly agitated Shinju out of the scene. I really can't understand her. Why does she still defend that person? They used to say Yun Tian was your substitute. I thought she couldn't bear the pain of losing you and found someone else to focus on. She wants a happy family, and I played along with her. But now that you're back, what is she really doing? Is she sacrificing her own daughter for her adopted one? Shinju punched the wall, a teenager who couldn't fully grasp the complex emotions. He just felt that his mother's actions were unfair to his sister. "Don't be angry, I'm not upset, her tricks can't hurt me." I pulled his hand away, feeling somewhat helpless as his knuckles were reddened. When he was younger, he would need me to soothe even the smallest scrape. And now he resorts to punching walls. "But Mom, enough, I'll handle this. Why don't you tell me what happened during the years I was away?" I felt like the plot had changed from what I had known before. Shinju pursed his lips and nodded. "Mom, did you have a nightmare again?" In the middle of the night, when Shin's mother came to check on me, I opened my eyes and called out to her. This wasn't the first time she had come to check on me secretly at night. But it was the first time I didn't pretend to be asleep. I only learned today from Shinju that she used to have nightmares and had trouble sleeping until Yun Tian came, and then things slowly got better. Seemingly not expecting me to be awake, Shin's mother paused, opened her mouth as if to say something, worry evident in her eyes. Finally, she awkwardly said, "I'm sorry." Those 3 words made me cast aside all my doubts, my heart aching uncontrollably. "Mom, you have nothing to apologize for. I know you have your reasons for what you've done, right, Yushi? Death is painful. If I could, I would really want my child to never have to experience these things. But I'm a useless mother, only able to watch her die over and over again in different ways, powerless to stop it." Her tears fell on my face as she tenderly stroked my hair. My expression remained calm, but inside, a storm was brewing. Did she mean that she could see every one of my deaths? What an impact that must have had on her. I felt somewhat suffocated by the thought, but how could an ordinary person see these things? "My greatest wish is for you to have a safe and smooth life. Leave everything else to me." That was the last thing my mother said to me that night. A late-night talk left me unsettled for a long time. Yun Tian, relying on mother's favoritism, had already stopped making superficial efforts with me. Of course, I wasn't easy to provoke, and she gained no advantages from me. The most recent conflict was about a set of jewelry that Shin's mother had given me. "Sister, how does it look?" Yun Tian, wearing the necklace I had only worn once, asked me with a smug look in her eyes. "Didn't anyone ever tell you that taking without asking is stealing? Put it down and get out of this room." She dropped her act, and I naturally didn't greet her with a smile. "I won't put it down. I want this set. If you're unhappy, go complain to Mom." Saying this, Yun Tian was about to leave with the jewelry. I grabbed her arm. I said, "Put it down." She rolled her eyes, trying to shake me off, but I grabbed her hair and smashed her head against the dressing table mirror. "Don't you understand?" Yun Tian was shocked. She never expected that I, usually so gentle, would resort to violence so suddenly. "You dare to hit me?" I won't let you get away with this, Yuntian screamed in anger. With a slight click of my tongue and an expressionless face, I continued to pull her hair and smash her head against the dressing table amidst her screams. I'm going to kill you, Shinyushi. The system, she has violated the rules. You should kill this wretch quickly. Last time you said that the affection overdraft blocking function was ineffective. There should be no excuse this time. Suddenly, my arm felt numb. And all my suspicions were confirmed at that moment. The system had indeed betrayed me. Or rather, Yun Tian and I had been using the same system all along. Only harming another user bound to the same system is considered a violation of the rules, and would be punishable. Shinyushi has unbound from the system and is no longer a mission participant. The system has no authority to erase her. It was the system's familiar voice, but it came from Yun Tian. The drama eventually attracted the attention of the servants, who called Shin's mother. In the living room, Yun Tian played the victim and cried, while I sat opposite her with a cold face, eyes closed, unwilling to watch. Since you two can't get along, Yushi, you should go abroad. For many years, it has been Tian by my side, and I'm used to it. Suddenly, Shin's mother spoke up, and the room fell silent. I opened my eyes and saw Yun Tian barely able to contain her glee. Although Shin's mother let her lean on her, the look in her eyes was cold, but Yun Tian, too thrilled, failed to notice. Her words sounded like a victory trumpet, and people often overlook crucial details when they are too proud. Alright, I looked at Shin's mother, remained silent for a long time, and finally spoke that single word, loser. Yun Tian mouthed provocatively as she leaned against Shin's mother. The decision for me to go abroad was thus settled. And Yun Tian couldn't wait to declare her victory to the world. There was much gossip in our circles, and Shinju was so angry he didn't come home, but he couldn't change anyone's decision. System, I've thought it over. I'm willing to rebind with you. I want to make them regret. Maybe you are right. The moonlight is only worth remembering when it exists in memory alone. I looked down and gave a bitter smile, met with silence. No reply from the system. Have you abandoned me too? Maybe I shouldn't have come back to life, I muttered forlornly, time ticking away. Suddenly, the familiar voice spoke again. Host Shinyushi, do you wish to rebind with System 933? Please confirm yes or no. My eyes flickered, but I pretended to be overjoyed. That's great, you're still here. Yes, host, I have always been here. You were right. Human emotions are too fickle. I lost to my own substitute. What about you? Will you betray me? I probed quietly, and after a few seconds of silence, the system continued. The system cannot betray the host, or it will be destroyed. I suddenly remembered the day I bound 4 years ago. The system had told me where its destruction key was to gain my trust, but I had been obsessed with coming back to life and trusted it completely. Host Shinyushi, do you choose to rebind? The question was asked again, and I chose yes. The binding process began to initiate. I suddenly asked, is Yun Tian also your mission participant? Yes. It was somewhat surprised that I had noticed, but now that I agreed to rebind and there was no conflict of interest with Yun Tian, it had no reason to hide anything. Moreover, system rules stipulate that the system cannot lie to its host. It turned out that it was Yun Tian's main system's clone, specifically split to deceive the universal consciousness and steal my destiny, replacing my life with Yun Tian's. I was supposed to die in the mission world. Never expecting to complete the mission and return alive, the system had no authority to erase such subjects. It could only fulfill the promise to revive me. Yet, upon my return to the original world, just after meeting Yun Tian, that destiny rushed back to me as if coming home. Yun Tian thought it wouldn't be a big issue. With the system's support and years of accrued goodwill, it seemed manageable. I couldn't win against her even after coming back. The allure of the white moonlight was too overwhelming. Just a few encounters and her plans nearly succeeded. To eliminate me as an obstacle, the system was compelled to deceive me into a binding that would force me to leave. Thus, the early death was a lie, and so was the plot about being replaced. All these were crafted to cater to Yun Tian's desire over my life and the system's need for destiny manipulation. From the moment she entered this world, she had her sights set on me. 23. Has my mother's change in attitude got anything to do with you? Did you intentionally let her see my death in that mini-world? Or did you manipulate her to side with Yun Tian? The system remained silent, merely speeding up the binding process. A clear enough answer. Binding progress 80, 99, 100. Host, we can leave now, since you've decided to abandon the past. Let's leave it behind. From now on, I will be a system for you alone. It turned out to be Yun Tian. Once she knew I was willing to rebind, she unbound her system and stayed behind forever. Her mission as the adopted daughter of the Shin family had long been completed. She had been dragging it out with points, reluctant to leave or unbind. Now, she had made her choice. I was just feeling sleepy when someone brought me a pillow. Thank you for clearing things up. 933. I will never trust a traitor again. I quickly located and pressed the delete button in my mind. The next second, the system space in my mind flickered red, codes flew chaotically, everything teetering on the edge of collapse. System 933 tasted betrayal for the first time. You will regret this. I won't. 24. Sister, I've stopped Mom. The phone rang, and the call connected, carrying Shinju's voice. Still frightened, relieved by the news, I grabbed my keys and ran out. You handled it well. Don't panic, I'm on my way. By the time I arrived at the abandoned warehouse, Yun Tian was gagged and lying in the dirty mud, and my mother, shaking with hatred, hesitated because of Shinju. Mom, this is illegal. It's no use glaring at me. If she doesn't die, your sister will. My mother hissed through clenched teeth. Shinju froze, bewildered. Move aside. Mother pushed him, attempting to continue her assault on Yun Tian. But I caught her in time. Mom, how did you get here? Leave. This has nothing to do with you, Yushi. Listen to Mom and live well. Mother was shocked to see me, pushing me to leave. Mom, it's okay now. Everything's over. Just listen to me. I then revealed the secrets of my disappearance over the past 4 years, the process of being bound by the system, the recent discussions, and the destruction of the system. I knew it. There are no such coincidences in this world, Yushi. Mom failed to protect you. Mother cried uncontrollably, embracing me tightly. With Shinju also tearing up. 25. Yun Tian was brought back by Xie Jihe 3 years ago. Initially, Mother detested this girl who resembled me. Disgusted by Xie Jihe's act of finding a substitute, her daughter was irreplaceable, even if there were millions of lookalikes in the world. After my disappearance, she began to suffer from insomnia and nervous breakdowns. However, after meeting Yun Tian, she suddenly started to dream of various scenarios of my death. Hearing a voice telling her that treating Yun Tian well and loving her as her own daughter was the only chance for her child to return, initially, she didn't believe it. As the images in her mind became more frequent and vivid, she tentatively began to reach out to Yun Tian, hoping for relief. Indeed, things improved. It was like seeing a beacon of hope. She showered Yun Tian with affection, which everyone assumed was her way of compensating for something missing. Yet, during the sleepless nights, she secretly prayed for her own child to return. Not long after she officially adopted Yun Tian, I truly came back. At just one glance, she recognized the differences between Yun Tian and me, and she was overwhelmed with emotion. She thought this would mark a perfect ending, but then that voice started haunting her again, warning that neglecting Yun Tian would bring me misfortune. Initially, she couldn't control herself and tried to make amends quietly, but to no avail. It was only after a car accident shattered her hope that she realized she must protect Yun Tian openly. She did as advised, and the situation improved. However, Mrs. Shen felt a chill run through her body. She firmly believed that the instigator would ultimately benefit from all this. Determined not to let me be constrained for life, she sent me abroad to lower my guard around Yun Tian and take matters into her own hands. To eliminate the threat, the voice was likely a result of hypnotic suggestion. After Mrs. Shen went missing, her mental state deteriorated, perhaps exploited during a moment of weakness. 26. Yun Tian woke up, looked around in panic, and then frantically sought our help. I turned towards the commotion, but Shinju screamed, "Where did Yun Tian go? Who is this?" The girl on the ground had an ordinary, unfamiliar face, one we had never seen before. That's Yun Tian. What? Shinju was confused, but Mrs. Shen was not as surprised, now unbound. She no longer had to pretend and merely glanced briefly before looking away. Shinju tore off the tape from her mouth. "Mom, save me. It was Shinyushi who wanted to kidnap me. Save me." Seeing me, she tried to throw accusations my way, but Shinju quickly retaped her mouth, met with a fierce glare from Yun Tian. "Can't you speak properly? We are here to rescue you. Don't be ungrateful. If you can't speak nicely, we might just leave you here alone in this abandoned warehouse. Who knows if those violent criminals might return," Shinju subtly threatened. Naturally, the kidnapping was orchestrated with hired goons, and Yun Tian hadn't seen their faces. The Shin family maneuvered behind the scenes. She could find no evidence. Yun Tian softened her demeanor, looking pleadingly at us, so Shinju tore off her tape again. Nevertheless, the kidnapping case was left unresolved, with no news leaking from the Shin family. 27. I am Miss Shin, let me in. When Yun Tian returned from the hospital, nobody recognized her anymore. Her face bore no resemblance to her former self, and no one believed her claim of being Yun Tian. "Stop pretending. Everyone knows Miss Shen. Do you think we are blind?" The gates of the villa remained closed, and Yun Tian was driven away by security. I am Yun Tian, she fumed, but no one paid her any attention. Until she saw Xie Zhiheng visiting, she approached him. Zhiheng, they won't let me go home. It must be Shen Yu she's doing. You are. Xie Zhiheng paused, faced with a stranger. I am Yun Tian, don't you recognize me either? Yun Tian became agitated, then touched her face and screamed, ah, my face, what's happened to my face? Finally, she saw her reflection in the glass, a face she had long forgotten was her own. Yun Tian was devastated, unable to accept it, and stumbled away desperately. Xie Zhiheng thought he had encountered a madwoman and paid her no mind. He was there to apologize. He didn't understand what had happened. He had exhausted their childhood friendship with his words, but he still owed an apology. I didn't accept his apology. He seemed distraught as he left. When I heard from him again, it was somehow related to Yun Tian. 28. Yun Tian couldn't accept her original appearance, and the system never returned. She didn't lack the desire for revenge. But each attempt ended with her getting caught red-handed. Out of options, she turned her attention to Xie Zhiheng, hoping to start over, but without her previous face, Xie Zhiheng didn't recognize her. In a scuffle, they both ended up in a car accident. Xie Zhiheng injured his leg, and Yun Tian was left mentally